Hey, what's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the Zero Excuses Podcast. My name is Kenyon. Thanks for tuning in. We are continuing our discussion on taking control. And what I want to talk with you guys about today is firmly planting yourself in the driver's seat. Let me break that down for you guys a little bit before we get into some practical tips here. If I asked you who or what you thought was really in control of things in your life, what would you say to me? Is it your job? Is it your bills, your kids, your house, maybe your wife? I mean, really think about that question. Be honest and objective with yourself. I mean, this is something that I routinely have to do with myself. I have to take a step back and ask myself that very question on a routine basis, like I said. The reality is, though, that none of those things, if you ask me, actually control you. They may influence what you do, they may be important to you, but you don't have to pay your bills. You don't have to get up and go to work every day. You're in the driver's seat of what you choose to do every day. And I see a lot of people that get trapped in relationships that they don't want to be in. They get trapped in jobs that they're miserable with, or even a house or piece of property that they're slaves to. I mean, I'm not saying don't spend time doing those things or not paying your bills. All I'm saying is that ultimately, you're the one choosing those things. No one is making you do any of it. Just simply remember that the next time that you're feeling frustrated with those various situations that you find yourself in, you're the one that's in control of whether or not you're actually in that situation or not. So that's what I mean by getting in the driver's seat. You have to remember that you are always in the driver's seat. So now that I've said all that, let's break down a couple of specific ideas and strategies that you can employ to start to build this notion in your head that you're always in the driver's seat. So my first tip here is, number one, you can always change your mind. You always can reserve the right to change your mind. Just because you start down a certain path doesn't mean that you can turn around and choose a different one, especially when you recognize that it's the wrong direction. I mean, I've seen this play out both literally and figuratively. I've seen plenty of people that I've worked with in the past. I see them day in and day out just counting down the days until they retire in 20 years. So that to me says that there's a lot of people that are just going through the motions and just going down a path that common society has sold us on. So my next bit of strategy is be willing to pay the cost. That kind of follows up on my last point, but let me illustrate this with a quick example here. Let's say that you are frustrated with one of your coworkers or a friend or a family member. There's two scenarios that can play out here. The first one is you don't have a conversation and you remain frustrated. Or you have that difficult conversation, but you resolve the situation. In the first scenario, the cost that you're willing to pay is you remain frustrated and you avoid the pain of having that difficult conversation. But in the second scenario, you pay the cost of having that difficult conversation and enjoy the benefit of resolving that conflict. So there is a cost that you have to weigh in each and every scenario of your life and decide what you want and decide to be okay with paying the cost involved with having that thing. And let me tie this in with today's topic of firmly planting yourself in the driver's seat. I see so many people that go between each of these scenarios in their minds and never choose a direction. They don't want to pay any cost at all. They want to have that ideal scenario without paying any cost whatsoever. It's almost the entitlement mindset at play here. But to get in the driver's seat, we have to decide what we want and evaluate what the cost is involved with that. Whether you want that shiny new car, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. Maybe You still can get that car, but maybe you can get an older model, a used one that's depreciated a little bit, but you don't have to pay that new car cost, etc. And my last tip here that I'm going to leave you guys with today is to surround yourself with like-minded people that are going to help you see these very blind spots that we all have. I have these things that I talk about, and I'm working every day to work past these things and realize these costs to enable me to change my mind when I am being stubborn and just going off in left field. So that's where I'm going to leave it for today, guys. 3 really basic tips here. Number 1, give yourself permission to change your mind. Number 2, be willing to pay the cost. And number 3, surround yourself with like-minded folks. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. Just a few quick reminders before we sign off here. First, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review on iTunes. Second of all, don't forget to head on over to kenyonziska.com/results to check out what we have going on with our Mastermind group, Infinite Results. Inside there, you will find the accountability, the structures, the systems necessary for you to build the rock-solid discipline to get the exact results that you want to have out of your life. And also, if you need that one-on-one, very customized coaching, I have a very limited number of spots open in my discipline coaching program. You can apply for that at kenyonziska.com/discipline. You'll fill out a short survey and be able to schedule a 1-hour consultation with me to see if we are a good fit to work together. And remember that this is not for everyone, and you have to be willing to invest the energy and the time into achieving your results. All right, guys, thanks again for tuning in. I will talk with you again soon.